Alright, I guess because of everything going on now, I mean, it's at fever pitch. I just gotta say this, last couple of nights I just tried going to bed because what I gotta do the next day, but I just saw on the internet that some Tennessee, whatever, liberal piece of crap politician just filed orders of impeachment because Trump didn't all of a sudden disappear from the White House, you know, like Star Trek style, and reappear in Charlottesville and like Superman pick up the car and stop it from hitting anybody. And because of that, he proved that he cannot protect the people of this country and shouldn't be president and needs to be taken out of office. Now, when Obama was president, there was a couple in Knoxville, Tennessee, a girl named CHANNON and the guy named Christopher Newsom, who were kidnapped by at least 5 blacks. I mean, I got definitely another word for them. And kidnapped, raped, tortured, and murdered, and cut up to pieces. When the cops finally showed up, the girl was cut up in pieces and was in a trash can that they were going to try to go and, you know, get rid of. Look up CHANNON, CHANNON, and Christopher Newsom. And think for a half a second or a zillionth of a second how when that happened, not only did Obama say anything about it, not say anything about it, but neither did the media. I mean, there was like barely a blip. Like maybe Fox News did 5 minutes one day and CNN maybe mentioned it. And like that was it. You know, these two were kidnapped, raped, and we're not talking like for, you know, just instantly got raped and then killed. No, this went on for days. And I mean, it's hard to get what the facts are, if it was like 2 weeks or 3 days or what. But anyways, that happened while Obama was in office. No problem. Now, besides that, we had all the terrorist attacks. We had the Muslims killing everybody everywhere. Obama administration, the whole administration wouldn't even say the words radical Islam, let alone terrorist. They wouldn't even say radical Islam. When San Bernardino happened, they kept saying, well, we don't know why they did it. Well, we don't know. We're not sure. We have to investigate this. They were screaming Allah Akbar the whole time they were doing what they were doing, and while they got in the shootout with the cops and got killed. You know, but Obama and the Obama admin, see, and Democrats are great with this. They're totally cool with this. This is what I mean about Democrats being flat-out Satanists, because they are all in on this. You know, you don't see one of them standing up saying, you got to be effing kidding, kiss my effing ass. Look who was killing who when, you know, Obama was president. None of them stand up for the truth. Instead, they stand up for every two-faced, hypocritical, satanic lie they could think of. And they're all in on it. Of course, they got their trophy ones that stay all quiet forever and act like they're innocent. And they use them for when they have to make them look like they're innocent. But then they have the hitmen, I don't know what you call them, the freaking genocidal Democrats that are out there up front. Maxine Waters being the main one now, you know, sort of stepping in front of Nancy Pelosi. But Hillary, Bill Clinton, I mean, you look into these people and what they do. I mean, the truth gets out sooner or later with everything. And the truth on these people, that's so much, there's so much that they all should have already been put on death row and executed. But, you know, here, they finally got control, and Hillary even admitted it. She's like, we thought we had it. We had control of everything, but we forgot about talk radio. You know, I mean, they actually think that if they make it to where you hear nothing but lies, you'll just fall for it. You'll be like, okay, well, there's nothing but lies, so I'll just sit and listen to lies. They somehow don't get that if they do nothing but lie and make, you know, whatever they put out there, you know, total satanic crap, that everyone will just accept it, that they won't be like, you know what, well, screw it, I'll shut off my cable. Because, I mean, it's getting to that point now where they say cable's losing money, which is why they're ripping everybody off, because people are shutting off cable. Because there's nothing but satanic, you know, the news is satanic, the shows are all satanic, I mean, everything's satanic. Hollywood's supposedly going under now, because the last thing that's been keeping them alive is these franchises. You know, Spider-Man 6 and Batman 29 and whatever. And they're all coming to an end, and they don't know what else to do. because they've basically pigeonholed themselves so much. And actually, the people controlling Hollywood are just so evil now that they can't do a good movie anymore. It has to some way be promoting evil or Satanism or whatever, and that even goes for TV sitcoms. I mean, everything is... these are the last days. And so the ultimate bottom line of this message is Christians, they are going to force us into a civil war. They're going to make it happen. We are going to have to sooner or later stand up and do what we got to do. Now, we could either wait until the country's whole collapsed, till it's done. The supermarkets are empty, and no one's got a way to feed their kids, and yada, 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 and people are fighting in the street over food and gas and whatever. Or we can do something now and try to stop it. Because now orders of impeachment are going up against Trump for nothing. I mean, some California rep already filed orders of impeachment because the Russia investigation. Which, there again, where's the investigation? Who have they actually questioned? I mean, Mueller's got this whole panel of attorneys, which a bunch of them are Hillary attorneys. Attorneys that she had for her campaign. And all they're doing is trying to find ways to prosecute Trump with not a single bit of proof of anything. Obviously they can't go talk to Putin or anybody in Russia because they've already said publicly over and over, this is total BS. We had nothing to do with that election. And anybody with any common sense at all. I mean, there's even people that have been asked. I think it was Comey and I can't remember the other guy's name. Another top Obama, guy that's been there for the last 3 generations of presidents, which is very telling, because, I mean, if he's there for Bush and Obama and they both say he's great, well, I mean, this is a whore that'll bend over for anybody. But he was asked as well if there's any proof that any votes were changed because of Russia. That one way or another, in any way whatsoever. Was any votes supposed to go to Hillary, but instead they went to Obama because of Russia? And they both said no. Comey and I don't know if he was a Secretary of State, some other guy. I can't remember the name. But anyways, they already had these hearings, but the Democrats, just like I said, with the murders, with the Muslims killing everybody, the blacks killing the cops, that couple being kidnapped in Knoxville and tortured and murdered, tortured, raped, and murdered, that all gets swept under the rug. Just like, one of their people just tried to kill a bunch of Republicans on a baseball field. See, all of that's totally fine. All of that's great to the Democrats. This is who they are. You got to realize this, that this is who they all are. Because there isn't one of them standing up against this. But some guy that's a supposed Nazi, which there again, I don't know, thinking about this, and I've seen this on the internet too, people going, wait a minute, did that guy even drive that car? It almost looks like it was a hit done by the Democrats to set Obama up, or set Trump up. Because the rally was actually put together by some past, I was trying to think now what they said he was. The guy who actually started this and is the main person who set it up, this rally in Charlottesville, was a Democrat. And what he wanted was to get, act like all of a sudden he's a Nazi, get in with the Nazis. They don't follow him, or, they don't know Hillary's people, so they don't know who's who with them, especially people that most of the public don't know, because she's got 100 people or 1,000 or whatever that are hidden people that the public don't know about. So he goes down there, gets them all riled up, gets them to show up in Charlottesville while they're backdooring getting the, Black Lives Matter and Black Panthers and Antifa to show up. And then they create their situation. They put a couple cops out there to make it look like the town's, doing what they're supposed to do, but they also, almost drop them into, a bonfire. Where there's, this mass crowd there of two, hugely opposite sides, and they do whatever they can to make them go at it. And actually what I just read, too, is the person who got the permit, got it okayed, I guess somehow rescinded the permit himself when they were all out there. When they're all out there and they're facing each other, he rescinds the permit. So now the chief of police is like, well, wait a minute, we're supposed to be protecting some sort of rally that's got a permit. This rally doesn't have a permit now? Well, I'm not sticking my guys in the middle of that. You know what? You want my guys to get beat to death? I mean, the whole thing was set up to go off, was to have some sort of A-bomb reaction. And because there wasn't one really, they had this standoff and there was a few punches thrown and people swung a couple clubs or whatever, but nothing really happened. And because of that, I wouldn't be surprised if someone got a car that was just like this guy. You know, they had, you know, because this is the Democrats, they got power. They had a license plate made with the same license plate, because there's all sorts of stuff going around now of these cameras, you know, that, you know, filmed it, that car that ran into the other ones that ran into the people, of who's sitting in the driver's seat. And it don't look like this guy that got arrested. You know, I mean, we'll see what forensics say, but it totally looks like it's somebody else. So I could, and this is just how low they are. They did Benghazi, they did Fast and Furious, they did Extortion 17. These people have been murdering Americans forever. And America just keeps letting them sweep it under the rug. You know, like I said, this guy who shot up the baseball field, that's gone. That's all the news. And that's not the Democrats' fault. No way. We don't have nothing to do with that, even though he was a total Democrat and he went and shot people because of all the crap we've been saying. No, that's not our fault. That's not our fault. Trump never said anything at all, in the slightest, of, you know what, you white people need to just go and start taking care of these people that are a problem to us. And not even say anything about skin color. He hasn't even said that. But they're blaming him for this, like he orchestrated it, set it, when they're the ones. It was one of their people that got the permit, rescinded the permit, and the whole thing, besides of everything else. Oh, here's another thing. Remember the Muslim cop that murdered the girl? She called and said, look, something's going on here, and we can't get the truth out of that either, because you can't get the truth out of the media anymore. You know, one report says that she called in because some guy was sitting on the wall in her backyard. Another report says that you know, someone got raped, some girl did, and she was beating on her door, so she called the cops, said, hey, I got a girl here. She said she got raped. Another report says that she got raped, the girl who got shot. I mean, you can't get the truth out of them for nothing. But here, the one thing we do know is a Muslim cop just pulled his gun out of the blue and killed her, and he hasn't even been arrested. In fact, I haven't even heard that he's been questioned. Last I heard, the police chief up there, which is a Muslim, an ass-kissing Muslim, and actually the mayor, the police chief got fired over it. So the police chief got fired, but nothing's happening to this Muslim guy that killed this girl. And the mayor, she's like, he doesn't have to come in and even answer questions. He doesn't have to. You know, there's no law or no need that we have to make him come do that. So she's saying flat out that us Muslims can kill you Christians anytime we want, and we could just tell you F off. You know, we ain't doing nothing about it. Has any of you, anybody else out there heard that that guy's been arrested? No, he murdered her like a month ago. It's going on a month now, or maybe more. And he hasn't even been questioned, let alone anything else. This is what they're doing. This is what the Democrats, Demoncraps, are doing. So you know what? It's just time. You know of the politicians in your area that are standing with this, standing with the collapse of America, because if you think Trump's going to get taken out of office and nothing's going to happen, then you are one of the stupidest freaking people in the universe, because we are going to have instant revolution and civil war. All right? And it's up to you, because he's your people. You elected him into office, he's your problem. That politician that's fighting for this. You know, because they actually think that they can get Trump to leave office like Sarah Palin, and then they're going to come out with some BS story. Believe me, this is what they're convinced of. They've sat and watched everything. They sat and watched how these 5 black guys kidnapped these 2, raped and murdered and tortured them. Or, you know, raped, tortured and murdered them. They're looking at how the Muslims have been killing Americans all over the country, and they didn't even say the word radical Islam, let alone terrorist. This guy shoots up, tries to kill all these politicians, like, 20% of the Republicans in Congress or Senate, whatever it was. And, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. All this stuff, this Muslim cop kills this girl, and Americans haven't risen up. Nothing's happened. Or nobody's done nothing. And so they're like, you know what? They ain't going to do nothing. They're just like Bin Laden or Saddam before we actually went into the country. Saddam was 100 trillion% convinced that we would never go in and get him. We would never do anything. Well, finally, when too much was too much, 9/11 happened. Saddam's paying people $25,000 a head to kill Americans. We went in and we took them out. Bin Laden was convinced as well. He does the Khobar Towers, our embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. He does the USS Cole, and I can't remember what else, but a few other attacks, where he totally kills Americans, and we did nothing. But that's because there was a Democrat in office, Bill Clinton. So Bill Clinton's like, hey, go ahead, kill all the Americans you want, man. Just, as long as Saudi Arabia kicks me back some money, and that's a whole nother thing. How, I don't know, that's a whole nother subject. I'll make another recording of that, of how they're in bed with the Saudis and, like Hillary running guns to Al-Qaeda, but obviously she's getting something out of it, and because Chris Stevens was going to tell about it, she has him murdered, which is why she told everybody stand down. In her mind, the Marines that went there, or the SEALs, I can't remember what they were, that went there to the embassy in Benghazi, they wanted to be murdered. She told them to stand down, and they went there anyways, so they wanted to be murdered. In her brain, that's how her brain works. She was just trying to get Chris Stevens murdered so he wouldn't tell about her running guns, her and the Obama admin, to the Al-Qaeda in Syria. Because they want a caliphate. They want the whole Middle Eastern to be one country, so it's a bigger threat. So Pakistan can share its nukes with the rest of, because it'll all be one country. It won't be like a section off country. So it'll be legal then for the whole Middle East to have nukes, and then that way they could threaten the whole world. People, I hear this all the time, even with radio talk show hosts. It sends me through the roof, because even the conservative radio talk show hosts fight with everything they have to be as stupid as they can freaking be. I've been yelling at them forever. It's not radical Islam, it's Islam. It's everybody in Islam. It's like the Democrats, how they're pulling all this crap and not one of them standing up saying, what? No way in hell, wait a minute, and saying anything straight. They're all in on it. That's why. Same with Islam. You don't see any Muslims out there protesting, San Bernardino or the car bombings, or especially anything like the Yazidis that were wiped out, killed, and tortured. Of course, they don't want that to happen to them, but they totally feel like if people from their religion did it to the Yazidis, it's like, well, whatever, so what? They're infidels. Come on, they're infidels. You want to talk about infidels? They are the ones that are the infidels, because Christ is the one that's the God of this planet. You ain't getting to heaven unless, you get there by Christ. And they don't believe in Christ. They, in every which way whatsoever, they've, proven that. They even admit that they know he was a prophet, but then they say, if you follow him, we're going to kill you. We want you to follow Muhammad, which, Muhammad sold his soul to get where they are, and, he's flat out in hell, and anybody who follows him is going there too. But, like I said, that's just getting into other subjects. But anyways, they're coming from all angles. There's a zillion forms of Satanism and one form of Christianity. Either there's not like 10, 15 different Jesuses, that said different things. There's one Jesus, he said exactly what's what. There's a bunch of different churches that have came up from that. One pays more attention to this part of what he said, another one pays attention to that part, but bottom line, we're all Christians. Some have added stuff in their religion that Christ didn't say, because these last days, we just got to say what the truth is. The Baptists are big on preaching Satanism. I don't get it. Christ never said nothing like that. Never even came close to it. Never even hinted to it that, you need to really learn Satanism to be a Christian. You need to learn Satan's ways and all that. Just not even. In fact, if he said anything, he said, stay away from anything that's satanic. Anything. And with all the stuff going on with the Catholic Church, I saw a thing the other day that the Pope himself is being prosecuted for some child trafficking ring that's been going on, and I guess a couple of cardinals have already been prosecuted for it, but they're getting them locked down for the big case against the Pope. And everybody knows that, that there's just so much crap in the Catholic Church that's been going on forever. The covering of all that, child molestation, how they, have been doing everything they can to cover it up. And actually, I saw a documentary God, like a year ago or so, some guy was allowed to come in and do a documentary on the Vatican. And it was, I think that's what it was called, the Vatican. And this guy got to be buddies with all the cardinals and priests and yada, yada, yada. And he found out how they had these secret orgies, these gay orgies. And, you know, he was there for them. You know, they have a club there in the Vatican. And I guess they hang out and drink. And then once they get time to want to leave, they go home, you know, or go to these secret rooms with, you know, their gay friends. I guess they have gay male hookers or something. And this guy says, wait a minute. I thought you were, you know, a priest or whatever he was. And he goes, look, when I'm wearing the Catholic uniform, whatever that's called, then I'm a representative of the Catholic Church and I'm a priest. When I'm not wearing that and I'm not doing the work, then I'm not, and I'm free to do whatever I want. And he takes off with this guy and they go and do their thing. And next morning they come out and they're, I mean, obvious. And if anybody knows the word of God on that, that is well, it's so bad he calls it an abomination. But there again, that's another form of Satanism. You know, it's the blacks that are like, you white people owe us. You know, we're going to take over this country. We're going to have a race war someday. The Mexicans saying, we're going to take over this country. You know, it's going to be ours. The Muslims saying, we're going to take over this country. Everybody thinks they're going to take over this country. You know, that they're just going to be able to finally someday kill everybody and take it and it'll be theirs. And, you know, like robbing a store. Like running into a, I don't know, whatever store, shooting the people in the head that own it and that work there, and then that's it, it's yours. And you could just do whatever you want. I mean, there's no common sense, but they're going to do it. They are working for it. That's what all this is going on right now. That's what this is. This is them actually even talking to each other about joining together, even though they kind of pretty much want, you know, different whatever. You know, the cartels, the Mexicans want it all for themselves. They don't want to share it with, you know, blacks or Muslims. Muslims don't want to share it with either of them, yada, yada, yada. But that's their plan is, well, let's get rid of the white man first. And, you know, I'm like trying to figure out how to like not take forever saying this. Because it's all forms of Satanism. There's like all these different forms of Satanism that are coming together. The gays. You know, the gays are saying the same thing. Well, we're going to be like, you know, militant gays. Or we're going to fight for our rights. You know, and to them, their rights are, we should make little kids in 2nd and 3rd grade watch 2 grown men have sex. I mean, there's none of this, you know, certain people are like, little kids are too young for this or this. And I investigate everything. I look at everything. I've come across pictures of these people at the gay parades. They have little kids, like 4 years old. And 5 years old, and they have grown men walking around totally naked right in front of them. These girls are like sitting there, you know, she's all like this with her hands together like this because she's all scared. And she's walking, you know, with the freaking gay moms, 2 gay moms, you know, they guarantee they adopted. And there's all these gay guys, you know, these gay guys walking around with nothing on, you know, shoes, and that's it. And they're just, I mean, the girl's freaking out. The girl is like, holy Christ, man, her common sense, she's still innocent. She's just like, holy Christ, how do I get out of this? What do I do? She's a little girl. She has no way to do anything, you know. And I've heard of other things, you know, because I have people tell me, you know, of things that go on around the country. This one guy I know that worked for a temp agency. The temp agency had him go work a gay parade. And he says, you know, I used to just think it was their thing. That, you know, no big deal. It's just what they wanted to do. You know, they didn't break into my house and make me be a part of it or whatever. He says it was just their thing. And then I worked a concession stand for that gay parade. And he says, dude, they are the most perverted freaking people. He says, I never tasted Sodom and Gomorrah until I did that. And I'm not even like, you know, a big church person or, you know, I guess I figured Jesus lived. This is what he told me. You know, that Jesus was, you know, that it was real, that Jesus lived and did all that. But I never tasted evil where I could taste it in my mouth until that. And he told me the pinnacle was when they had their kids. They had this one gay parade that he was at. They had their kids marching all together, and they had dildos strapped on them. Little kids, 4 or 5 years old, maybe even 3, 6, 7, whatever. and they strapped dildos on a bunch of them. So here's this little kid, not having a clue really about nothing in life, walking in this parade with this big old freaking, believe me, if I was there, well, I can't even say it. But this is how bad it is now. These are the last days. If you read the Bible and you know that the last days were, it's a real thing, that's right now. That is right now, this very second. And we're right at the head of the tip of the spear on that, because now they're filing orders of impeachment on Trump so they could full-on collapse this country, because that's what they're doing. That's the bottom line. Collapse this country, hand it over to the UN, make this country nothing more than property that the UN owns. And they already have laws passed in the UN, that Obama did it, to take all of our guns. That the second they take over, I gotta look at the time on this, all right, that they hand this country over to the UN, they're going to send armies from all over the world, China and Russia, to take all of our guns, and you're going to see what it's like for the stores to be empty, for there to be no food, because Americans are going to fight. We ain't going to just, oh, here you go, Russian, here you go, Chinese, here's my gun, now do whatever you want. They play on your stupidity, but this country's been so freaking stupid for so long. I mean, everybody fights to be stupid. I don't even know how many times I've met people, you try to tell them, they're like, look, come on, quit thinking about it. Who's right or wrong? How do you prove it? They think this way, those other ones think that way. How are you going to prove it? You don't know. I mean, they sit there with their fingers in their ears and their eyes closed going, la, 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 la. Yeah, well, when there's no food in the stores and people are killing each other for food and gas and medicine and whatever like that, we'll see if your dumb ass is sitting there going, la, 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 then. Because we are there. If they somehow, I don't even know how. I heard one guy on the news the other day, and Rush Limbaugh talked about this extensively. So did, I think, Dennis Michael Lynch. I couldn't hear Laura Ingraham, so I don't know if she covered it that much. But he said that they're just going to kill Trump. That they don't see any other way to try to legally, have it happen, or have it happen where nothing really happens. So they're just going to kill him. They're just going to figure out some way and have him die, and then they're going to somehow just take over. And who knows what they're going to tell us. Guaranteed, we will probably go into a media blackout, or we won't know nothing. Of course, there's channels like Fox, but Fox doesn't control cable. If cable is controlled by Satanists, like you have Dish, and Dish just shuts off their TV, or just cuts Fox off, just cuts them out. So all of a sudden, all you have is MSNBC, and that's it. 24/7 news from Rachel Maddow only, Mad Cow, and that's it. I mean, if we get to that point at all, then it's too late. You sat on your butt, and you did nothing, and you refused to find out what was up and do anything about it. Now you get to pay the price. Now, because what they're going to do at that point is hand this country over to, we won't even know what the hell they're doing. Once Trump dies, we're probably going to go into a full-on media blackout. Internet's going to shut off, or they're just all of a sudden, cut off anybody's account who's a Christian. And I guess you could just sit and wait until they finally kick your door in and, take you out to go work in some gulag or concentration camp. Because that's what it's going to be. And you aren't going to have the guns to do nothing about it, because they already took your guns. If you sit and wait, if you hand your guns over and whatever, you get the point. So that's the reason for this. It's just, we're to that point. They're filing orders of impeachment. The first one I thought was a joke, because, he filed order of impeachment because he said Trump was trying to impede the investigation when there actually is no investigation. The only thing they had for a minute was Don Jr. met with some lawyer from Russia, and actually what she wanted to talk about was how to get adoption back going, with Russian children and American parents. That's what the meeting was. And they were trying to say, oh, collusion, see, it was because of, Donald Jr., and that's how Hillary lost the election. I mean, you just have to be a biblical-sized retard to even think that is something for even a zillionth of a second. But they're out there. They're out there marching. They got all these kids with no common sense. Of course, their professors tell them, You know, you're smart. You're a genius. You know, you people are the next generation. You're going to really make sure everything's straight up and good. I sure wish I was one of you, yada, yada. Now go out there with a torch, start a bunch of crap, put a vagina on your head, and trash the country. That's what it is. And, you know, the Lenin, you know, in Russia, then when he started the Soviet Union, he called them people that were that stupid that would fall for this crap. He called them useful idiots. And that's what these people are. They're Bolsheviks. They're not even left anymore, or liberals. I mean, thank you, Michael Savage. That's Michael Savage that coined that, and I'm riding that one all the way to the freaking end of everything. These all these people trying to flip the country now into this, let's just make sure there's nothing wrong anywhere while making sure everything is effed up. That's Bolshevism. And that's what happened to Russia. They wiped Russia out, man. Russia went from a country where everybody was able to make, you know, whatever money they could and live, you know, and buy their own cows or farm or whatever they were doing. But in Bolshevism, the government came with militants, took everything from everybody and just wiped out the country and made it like dirt poor. So the people at the very top, and that's another thing that kills me. These fascist, anti-fascists, they call themselves, which actually they're anti-First Amendment. That's what Antifa is. But they're, you know, they never tell you the truth. They always lie about what they're doing and who they are. And they're trying to say they're anti-fascists when actually they are the ones that are the fascists. You know, they don't even know what they're doing. They think, and this is what's like it's even hard to say, it's so stupid. They think that if they got their total way, that this country would just belong to them and everything in it would just belong to them. Like, you know, them thinking, well, if we pick the lock to this Walmart, we'll own the whole store. That's all we got to do is just pick the lock. And everything in there is ours. That's their state of mind. And that's what they've been getting told by these retards in the Democrat Party. And they're, you know, they're having the secret meetings, which of course don't hit the, you know, mainstream media. You know, these people didn't organize like out of the blue. Like, you know, some guy from Mexico was walking down the street and ran into another guy from Nicaragua. And all of a sudden, you know, 200 more people showed up from wherever else. And then 500 more. And then thousands. Like, you know what? Wow, we actually got a thing going on here. We just accidentally all ran into each other. No, this is all being organized.